welcome to the Scene Weekly podcast, where we harken back to our college debate days and pick two movies of the same theme to strike fear into what lies ahead when machines take over humanity and rule with an iron fist. This week's episode is centered around the age-old fear of man versus technology. Come join Jonathan and Steven for another week of whatever this is, hopefully less plot chatter and copious more film banter. We are Scene Weekly, and welcome to our world, Stefan.
Welcome. We are doing this in real life and over the internet. So I feel like we're already kind of doing this man versus technology thing right now.
I'm in VR right now.
Oh, you're in virtual reality, huh?
I am, but it just looks like I'm an avatar.
Your graphics are much better than these movies that we're talking about, especially mine. Can't get much worse.
We have pitted The Matrix versus. Is it a movie? Yours? I mean,
yeah, it's definitely. Is
it?
It's definitely a classic, man. I think.
Boy, I haven't seen that Johnny Mnemonic in probably since it came out. Looking back now, for a good reason. Probably.
I mean, did you have any kind of memory of this movie? This is pretty much like fresh watch.
The dolphin. I remember even back then was terrible. It was so cheesy. It's like, what the fuck is going on?
Oh, the
and
90s.
Steven, it's not the 90s. It's that movie.
Fair.
I mean, where do we start? First of all, I came up with this. I like the man versus technology. And coincidentally, I had just watched The Matrix, and I was trying to filter in how to be lazy, kind of. So I was like, oh, I've already watched The Matrix. How is this going to fit into this podcast? And I was like, oh, man versus technology. This is perfect. And you had some heavy hitters, some of the movies I was considering, and then you were like, let's go Keanu. And I was like, I don't really remember it. And I just looked up Rotten Tomatoes. I was like, this is going to be an interesting ride.
Yeah, this was kind of my Shawshank prison movie debacle that you did for me.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it was kind of the same idea.
Worse. This is worse. This is way worse. For sure worse.
I don't know. We could debate that as we go.
We can debate that at the end when the ratings actually get... I don't even know. How do you rate a movie like Johnny Mnemonic? But I know how to rate it because I rated it. Speaking of, we've said this 1,000 times. We are in the midst of launching our website, for which we are re-rating in the Glasses formula. It should be live probably tomorrow or the next day. If we get it done.
It keeps getting pushed just a little bit further and further, but I think we're almost there. And we're going to have our ratings, because if you've been following this podcast, we started off with a very concise, film-centric, mise-en-scene kind of idea towards these ratings, and we gave it a 100-point scale. So a lot of movies fell into like the 70s, 80s, and some of the great ones were in the 90s. We scrapped that idea. It's done. We're into our own thing. We're doing Glasses out of 5. So 5 is the best. And 5 is going to be a golden Glasses, right? Just one thing.
It's going to be one golden sunglasses, or whatever you want to call it. You can have glasses. You can have sunglasses. Whatever you want to say. But glasses. Yeah. 5 stars.
So there we are.
That's it.
5 stars, 5 glasses.
There'll be 3 sets of glasses. And for each little lens or monocle, whatever you want to call them, is going to be effectively, a 1 rating. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, so we'll have that launching soon. But yeah, I think we need to get into this launch of man versus technology. Internet.
Why don't we get into The Matrix first? I think we should leave Johnny for last. I think that's going to be the more interesting of the two, to say the least.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll go in to the background here. 136 minutes is The Matrix. The Wachowski sisters. I think at the time they were brothers. But 1999, rated R for some action. 83% on Rotten Tomatoes. Seems a little weird.
I'm surprised by that. Yeah.
$63 million budget with a 467 in the box office. Did pretty well. Not as well as I was expecting, but maybe you have to adjust for inflation. I don't
And
know.
the R rating. I think the R rating kind of hindered it a little bit.
Hmm. You think it really needs an R rating? Just death and killing.
Yeah.
Lots of it.
And it mainly takes place in the Matrix, so it's like fake death, right? It's
Yeah,
not
it's
even
not even real
real.
death, right? Yeah. Why can't
It's
they
just
have a
computer.
disclosure? This is not real death. They didn't really die.
Yeah, it's just ones and zeros. That's it.
And the synopsis, if you haven't seen it, you silly twats, if you haven't, you need to stop what you're doing now and put it on your phone, your TV, whatever you have. Neo, Keanu Reeves, who was originally supposed to be Will Smith, believes that Morpheus, who's played by Lawrence Fishburne, an elusive figure considered to be the most dangerous man alive, can answer his question, what is the Matrix? Neo is contacted by Trinity, a beautiful stranger who leads him into an underworld where he meets Morpheus. They fight a brutal battle for their lives against a cadre of viciously intelligent secret agents. It is a truth that is going to cost Neo something, possibly more precious than his life. Um, it just does no synopsis is ever going to do this movie justice, in my view. I
Absolutely not. No.
big fan of this. It still holds. I would say the this time period of like 98 to 2003, 2002, maybe not so much 3, has such horrendous CGI. CGI, it's laughable. And before it was like kind of acceptable. Like Johnny Mnemonic was like acceptably bad. You can kind of accept it. It was just
Was
so
it?
bad. I don't know. I'm trying to make excuses already. But like the first two Harry Potters were like pretty bad, and then the third became much better. But yeah, CGI has come a long way. But with that being said, the question is going to be this: would you take the red pill, or would you not take the red pill, Steven? Or would you be the pills if you haven't seen the movie? The red pill is basically the acceptance of truth and the reality of what actually exists in this world, and the blue pill is basically, you're going to sleep back in the matrix and nothing is necessarily real, but it feels real to you and you're in part of this simulation. What do you do? You want the truth? Nothing but the truth?
Knowing what I know, probably blue pill all day. But when faced with Neo's situation and going down the rabbit hole, it'd be the red pill. Um, so I'm kind of on. I'm standing on fences again here, Jonathan. If I had to decide, I'm going blue. I'm staying in the Matrix. The cozy comfort of nice steaks and fine dinners and all that jazz, as opposed to what are they eating, porridge out of tin cans and living in
Yeah, but you're
cold.
dealing with the reality.
Yes, I mean reality bites, man. I don't think I really would want that. What about you? What would you do?
Yeah, I think the pussy in me would probably say the blue pill. If I'm a bit of a wimp, it's the easy way out. But I don't. I want to be challenged. I don't want to have like, um. I mean, it's kind of like that thing. It's the same method, the same like structure of the question. If you were to just tell truths all day, every day, we basically lie. Like I don't know, hundreds of times a day, basically. But like if you were to actually get the truth of everyone, every moment of every day, which would basically be taking the red pill, it's a pretty shitty existence. You know,
Yeah,
it's
it is.
like you want some sugar coating. You don't want things to be exactly as they are. Where's the creativity in that? So I I thought about this. I would actually be in your camp of the blue pill, and I think I just like would repeatedly probably choose it. I can understand him choosing the red because his life sucks and he's looking for something more, and it's an interesting time in his life for which he's followed the white rabbit, and it's led to where he is now. Curiosity probably would kill me, and I would take the red pill as well. But with that said, he doesn't really know what he's getting into. We do.
That's the
We've seen
thing.
the whole
Yeah.
movie. So like he doesn't know what it actually is going to be, you know? And then he sees it.
Uh,
He's like, "Oh, wait. I can't go back. There's no going back."
Is there a yellow pill? I like a reverse engineer this shit.
Yeah.
Like,
But
what's going on?
I think I probably would choose the blue pill. Yeah. knowing everything. I don't want to eat
Yeah,
that
but
porridge.
if I
Mess
like I
up.
said, if I was in Neo's situation, I'm going to be curious about what's going on here. I believe like I just was interrogated by Agent Smith and my mouth was sealed up.
Yeah,
Like there's some strange things that I want to know and figure out, and the red pill has those answers. So in that
sure,
situation, yeah,
sure. But anyway, what a joy of a movie.
it's great.
The intro, absolutely unbelievably fantastic. Just with suspense immediately off the bat. But it took them, I think, 6 months to film that intro scene. Like
I
six
believe it.
full months, which is like you could film a multiples of movies if depending on if you're like the Duplass brothers. But um, could you imagine? I mean, you're very good with nunchucks and the
Yeah,
like. Very, very good martial
thank you,
artist with your
thank you.
Haruki Kanati Te Maraka
You almost got it. You
karate.
almost got it. Yeah.
And how do you think they did like learning all these different martial arts? Because I know like some of them it was brand new, but they look like they had been doing it for years.
I mean, what I read is they took like 4 or 5 months in Burbank and just like day after day studied and trained with martial artists and did the whole thing. And even like Keanu Reeves, like he's been in a bunch of action movies before this, and Speed, Johnny, and he had like some kind of herniated disc or something like that that he had to deal with. Like there's a lot of things that
Oh yeah, yeah.
they trials and tribulations of just learning to get the martial arts correct.
Yeah, Trinity sprained her ankle allegedly in like the first, I don't know, I guess few weeks, and told nobody because she's like, I don't want them to recast me, basically,
What a
my
baller!
character.
That's
I was like,
awesome.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So didn't tell anybody until like after the fact. Why are you running with a limp, Trinity? Don't worry about it. Um, and I will say, speaking of running, I really appreciated the running scenes at the top of the
The
roof.
rooftops. Yeah.
Yeah, thought they were excellent. And I will say, overarchingly, um, the rain scene, although a complete downpour under the bridge, is perfect.
Oh,
Five
f-
glasses for me.
5 glasses on the rain. I love that.
Yeah, and I think
It
it
was good.
maybe yeah because it yeah I would have to say it was a five. But how do you think Will Smith would do as Neo? What do you think that would look like?
It'd be a different movie altogether. I feel like. I don't know. Just Keanu just captures this like. Uh, uh, Maybe it's like the lack of acting that he does in it, and just the very kind of stoic um, stoicness of it. I don't know. Will Smith would take too much screen time away and just focus too much on him. I feel like. And also, Brad Pitt got offered the part. Leonardo DiCaprio got offered the part. They all turned it down. Val Kilmer even got offered the part of Morbius, uh, or sorry, Morpheus, um, and he turned it down as well.
I believe Val was supposed to. It was dependent on Will Smith being a part of the movie, and I think there's a lot of moving parts. Jada Pinkett Smith, another Smith made it in there. Um, yeah, but I looking back at the red pill versus blue pill and trying to decide what's best. If you've seen the second movie, you'll understand that while there is porridge being poured on the ship, it's probably not what they're eating on a day to day basis. And back at um, Zion, you basically get better foods. So would you still, even if and we shouldn't be talking about a second movie, but like, would you? I think I would. I think I would. The way that Zion looks, I think I'd probably actually take the red pill because that was like the second part with like seems like a big old orgy just happening, but
That's true.
seems like a pretty fun place, old Zion.
I mean, I feel like if somebody was hyping me up as like you're the one,
Yeah, yeah.
you're the
That's how they get
guy.
everyone. Look, you got the one story too. Oh shit, that's how they get you out. You're like, take the red pill. You're the one, Neo. And it's like, you called you
go
Neo too.
go shovel shit, man. That's what we're doing
Yeah,
here.
yeah. We're literally you literally like go and start building brick walls. We just
Yeah.
needed like some basic like slave robots to come build our new city
You're
here.
you're the one of many, my friend. That's what
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah, I did sleep with somebody else. You weren't the one. But you would follow the white rabbit in your real life if you're looking at a computer screen, half asleep, and it says follow the white rabbit. Would you do that in real
Yeah, I
life?
think
Because
so. Yeah. Yeah,
I would
absolutely.
not. No, somebody's hacking you to like encourage. No, you're literally going to your death.
I'm falling victim to it, but I got to see where it leads. You know what I mean? Like,
Note to everyone watching this that if you ever want to get Steven outside of his house and do bad things to him, not to say that I really want this to happen, but not necessarily bad things, but to do things to him, do exactly this. Seems pretty easy. Get you out of the house. By the way,
yeah.
nice shirt. What is this?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, this is my Vegas shirt.
What are you doing? Are you in Vegas?
No, no, no. I bought this for a Vegas trip one time, and I wore it. And somebody on the Vegas Strip offered me $100 for the shirt, and I turned him down because I didn't want to be shirtless.
Well, they could have given you their shirt.
It's true, but I didn't like their shirt. Wasn't
What
good.
was their shirt?
It's just a T-shirt, man.
Do
Nothing,
you wear
nothing
this
special.
often?
No, this is second time wearing it.
I feel like you need a chain to be prominent.
I should get a nice gold chain, huh?
Yeah, like an Italian thick chain,
Well,
and maybe like
you
grow out
know,
your chest hair a little better.
Christmas is around the corner, Jonathan. You can always Amazon me something, you know?
Does Amazon sell gold?
Fake gold, probably.
Maybe I
I'm
can
sure
get
they
you a
do.
leopard print underwear as well to go matching with that. Um, do you? By the way, what is the phone that they were using? Because I think they actually had to spring inject the way that it like shot out. Because how fucking cool is that? But seriously,
This movie made me want to have a cell phone because I didn't have a cell
yeah,
phone until like 2003. Um, but yeah, this movie this was before like the Razor and even obviously the iPhone. But yeah, this made a phone look cool.
yeah. I mean, it was pretty awesome, especially their phones. I think I first got in 2000. In 2000, it was my first cell phone. For some reason, somebody was just throwing it away, and I took it, and then I had it for like 6 months. And for whatever it's worth, it didn't pay the bill for like the last bill, and they came after me for like $100, like a year later. I'm like, oh, guess I didn't pay it. Could have just sent me a message, but nonetheless, I did have a cell phone, and then I got a new cell phone in 2000. Yeah, probably
But
2003.
not one cool like the Matrix, I bet. Just
No,
probably a
no,
doinky dinky Nokia.
yeah. Um, in terms of a download of information that is so quick and effective as the Matrix is, what would you want to learn like first?
I had this question for you. That's funny. Um, you
How to
know, I
dress?
pro- there you go. I actually
What
have that.
what animal am I going to look like today? No, just Steven.
Look, it's fashion, and some people just don't understand it. Clearly, it goes above your head, and
It goes
you can't.
above the rhinoceros's head, it goes above the lion's head, it goes above the zebra's head, it goes over everyone's head.
It's
Somewhere,
man.
somewhere where Starlink is taking you.
Hey, what I would learn, I'd probably maybe how to make kombucha or sourdough bread. That would be like a first kind of thing for me. Just inject me with that information.
I have a friend who makes kombucha. I can give you a quick download there. So
Hey,
sourdough.
perfect.
I also have a friend who makes sourdough, and you have a friend that makes sourdough. Made plenty. I have a sourdough starter. If you want me to mail it to you.
See, look at that. I mean, I say a couple things, and it magically comes to me via the internet. I mean, we're basically in the Matrix right now.
No, we are. Do you think life is a simulation?
I thought you were going to ask this question.
Yeah,
Actually, I knew foresaw it like the Oracle, um, and yeah, it's more probable than not,
yeah.
right?
Even if it isn't, it is. Like
What
even
do you
if we
mean by
can't
that?
define whether or not it's a simulation, like it still is a simulation. Like this is, we're in a part of. I think we're just as humans, we're too dumb to be asking the correct questions. Um, and who gives a shit if it's a simulation or not? Maybe it is. Just keep going, keep living.
42.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, the 42 exists because they weren't providing it with like the good enough inputs of like where you want to frame the questions. Um, but yeah, 42 effectively. But
Yeah.
I think I don't care if life is a simulation. Like I don't. I'm just not spending energy on that. I'll let other people do that and worry and stress and have some sort of anxiety. I just think it's kind of weird, but um,
But does that give you like existential like questions about like,
no,
morality and
no, mm-mm,
virtue
no,
and
mm-mm,
family?
no. What do you mean? But it doesn't make me think any deeper or less after considering it.
Okay. That's all I had.
So,
I
like,
mean,
if we're in a simulation, you could just go murder people. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that, no. But what I'm saying is, where it just asks all these existential questions of like what is life and what is the meaning behind life if reality is a simulation.
Why do you need a meaning?
Why do I need a meaning?
Yeah,
I don't. I buy into the reality that's given to me.
yeah. I don't need a meeting. Just anyone that needs a meaning probably is lost
But
along the way.
but it's fun to think about and it's fun to see it portrayed in an action movie that has bullet time, and ask these kind of questions to kind of make you think. So that's what's fun about this movie. And this movie basically like changed the game of action movies moving forward.
Yeah, and the bullet scene. Speaking of, that was mocked 20 movies over within like a 2 year period or something. Like the number's outrageous. Like I mean, I'm sure SNL did a skit on it too. But have you ever had tasty wheat?
Tasty wheat, like
Yeah, tasty wheat.
I've had
You
cream of
know,
wheat.
Mouses when he's talking about tasty wheat. How do the robots know that what tasty wheat tasted like? Maybe their version of tasty wheat tasted something a little like something else. I have had tasty wheat. Tasty wheat is a very isn't it an old people thing?
Probably,
Although
yeah.
I feel like I should start having tasty wheat. I wonder if they still make it. Um, when was the first time you watched this in theaters?
No, I was not of R-rated age to go to a theater by myself to watch this. So this was definitely a blockbuster movie at home kind of thing for me.
Hmm, that's
Yeah.
cool. I saw it in theaters, and then
Ooh,
I
humble brag
remember
over here. Older man going to the theater. What were you? What were you in 1999?
just was
17?
it came out in March, March, and I was about to graduate high school.
That sounds about right.
So my local theater, and when the second one came out, I I was just what a loser I was living at home, working at Publix, and had nobody to go with, hence the loserness. And I was like, Mom, who's was and is still a big Christian. And I was like, hey, Mom, guess what? There's all these allusions to Christianity in this movie called The Matrix, and they just came out with a new one, or it was coming out. And I was like, why don't we watch The Matrix 1 right now? And then she loved it because of the reference to, Trinity and more. Like she was understanding quite clearly, like,
It has those Christian themes for
yeah.
sure.
And so I got convinced my mom to go opening day to the second Matrix, which was a little awkward when that orgy scene was happening. But brilliant move. Just coercing individuals in the life that is a simulation to convince them that Jesus Christ is full on and well in the Matrix. But needed more friends back then, so yeah, that's what I was doing, hanging out with my mom on a Friday night. Good
Yeah, and I
stuff.
saw the third one actually with T Rock. I remember that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That was 2005, six, something like
what a
that. But
letdown that one is. My God, like
they can't
excite.
all.
Yeah, so excited, and I was like, wow, that what happened. Yeah, not everything needs to be three. I mean, the second one is actually pretty good. I started watching it after this, and I was like, still, it's a letdown from the first. But I have a few other questions, food related, ironically. Do you like? I think I maybe have asked you this before. Do you like soft or hard cookies, or are you a enjoyer of both?
Um, so here's the thing. I like soft cookies if they're fresh out of the oven, but I don't
Hmm.
like soft cookies if they're just like get them at a package store or something like that. I do
Really?
like
Soft
hard,
batch cookies?
huh?
Soft batch cookies you don't like?
Like
You know, the
at a
ones in the
store?
red container and you peel back? Literal
No.
soft batch
I
cookies.
mean, do I like them? Sure, I'll eat them, but like I like the crispy kind of hard cookies that you get with a
Tate's.
glass of milk. Yeah,
Oh,
and you
yeah.
make them soft in your mouth. You know what I mean? That's the whole idea. You can make anything soft in your mouth.
What other things can you make soft in your mouth, Steven?
You know,
Flaccid things?
we don't need to go there. This is a family podcast.
Is this? I don't know. It's not a family podcast, but I sometimes I understand having a hard cookie, dipping it in milk like you're 6 years old all over again. I haven't done that in I don't know how long. I don't remember the last time I've even had a cookie to begin with, first of all. But I'm definitely the supporter of soft cookies. Yeah, give me all the flaccid cookies all in my mouth, all at
Oh
once.
wow,
Yeah,
so
soft when
strange.
soft when they're out of the oven, soft when they're soft all day, every day, all day, every day, all day, every day.
You're you're a rare human, that's for sure.
I think if I were to guess, I would say it's probably 75-25.
Oreos, hard cookie, one of the most
Yeah.
popular ones.
No, I'm saying like an Oreo is an Oreo though. It's got a soft inner filling. And
Yeah,
Tate's
but
pretty popular, but I think people like soft.
we could
But
debate.
what do I know? I'll have to say, is this the first movie that like was shot in some of their scenes where like it like spins around basically and it's got like a 360 view? How do they do that? Do you know?
Yeah, they do it with multiple cameras,
Hmm.
all throughout. Apparently, that rooftop bullet scene, another like 6 months to shoot and
Yeah.
$750,000. Good investment, actually,
Yeah.
um,
For sure.
because that made the film. I mean, it, I think that would be like the one where audience are just like, "Whoa, this
It was
movie is
cool.
crazy."
It was very cool, especially the bullet scene. But I actually the last fight scene in the metro is some of the coolest shit I've ever seen in any movie. I really like metro shots and then having a fight scene where like everything is kind of coming together. Neo's like finally realizing I am the one in that perspective. But so cool. And trains running over anybody is just gonna be pretty fucking awesome. But that also took fucking forever to shoot. Everything they did just seems like it took I keep reading like this took 6 months. This took like how long were they doing this for? Like years? Jesus Christ!
Apparently, yeah. I didn't get to ask you. I got the kombucha and sourdough. What about you? If you could plug in and download a skill instantly, what would it be?
How best to play Monopoly?
That's a unique one right there. Are you
Because
not
Will
good at
Smith.
Monopoly?
No, I heard Will Smith talk about his strategy, and I was like, dude has played Monopoly way too much. And now that he is not Neo, reminds me that yeah, it's just like one of those games that kind of like poker. I just don't have the patience for it. I don't really get. I mean, it's kind of fun. Not really to me. It's just like it just kills time. One thing I would really like to destroy human beings. I'll actually take it back. I don't want to be good at Monopoly. I want to be the best player at Rummy Cube, which is like
At
the
what?
greatest. Rummy Cube? It's like the greatest thing in the world.
I had no idea what that is.
I used to play Rummy Cube like every single day and stay up until like 4 a.m. like a big dork and just got completely addicted to it. Like so addicted that I had to stop playing it. But if I could beat everyone in Rummy Cube, that'd be amazing. I remember playing with my wife and who's Asian, good at math. Not really. But I remember she was terrible at the very beginning and then she figured it out and then just started destroying everyone. Just started winning like every game and we got very angry. But it's a game of numbers and colors and you have these little
Okay.
tiles and you basically have to match certain things up in very particular order. But it's absolutely fantastic. You got to think ahead, but nonetheless, yeah, probably something like that, and it probably would be in relation to some sort of cooking. But that's like easy to do. But I think being the best runner in the world, that might be helpful. Run away
I
from my
mean, you could
problems.
you could learn that, but I don't think it's going to give you the innate physical skills. It's just the mental hard drive in your head,
So you're not saying
right?
I'm the best runner? It's not very
You
nice.
know,
No.
I believe in you, Jonathan. You're a green belt now. You know,
That's right. Well, thank you for bringing that up. Still a white belt technically, but I am a green belt. Got promoted. Shout out Sifu, Professor Sifu. Appreciate you and all of East Coast MMA. All my teammates. I guess we'll just make this a thank you podcast. I will say this: the Wachowskis, they would take the blue pill as well. They said in an online interview in the promotion of
really.
this movie, they would take the blue pill. I'd be
See,
curious. I think it's attractive. If this is what you get, like all around me now, I'll probably take the blue pill. Yeah. You don't want to be told the truth all day, every day. You don't. You just don't.
no.
It's going to be miserable. Your existence is going to suck.
And I mean,
You
let's
know,
look at Cypher. Like he traded his friends to go back and to live in the
that's how
Matrix because
important.
yeah, he's like, this steak tastes good, this wine, like this is what I want. I want to forget all about what the reality really is. Put me
Yeah.
back into the Matrix, man.
But I'll just have to say quickly. I mean, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. Top 50 for sure. And revolutionized action movies and what they can do, not only from a perspective of, in the 90s, simple structure of movies. You got a Arnold Schwarzenegger basically, and now you have a Neo slash Keanu. Really changed the idea of what could actually exist in a philosophical way, but also just an action way. It was pretty cool. A lot of people didn't
As
understand the script when it was given to them, so they were provided like lots of books in the back end of philosophy that they were required to read. Lawrence Fishburne picked up the script and was like, "Why is this confusing to you guys?" And so
he's a smart
clearly,
dude.
Morpheus was chosen correctly. But
And
anyway,
apparently they went into like uh executive meetings to try and pitch this script and this idea, and they would show like the first 20 minutes of the anime Ghost in Shell. Be like, we want to make this, but we want to film it. Is basically what they said.
yeah, I'm sure they
And you
had
can
some
see the
difficulty,
similarities.
but yeah,
Yeah.
just lovely. But you know what's not as lovely? Keanu's earlier remake of Man vs. Technology, and boy, why don't we get into that one?
Well, here's the funny thing: The Matrix almost didn't get made because of this movie. Like they saw
Johnny?
Johnny Mnemonic, and they were like, "This one flopped. This one was bad. Like you're going to try and do this again with the
Well,
same
it's
actor?"
the same actor, but different ideas. There's a
Yeah,
little
it's
bit of a
different.
different execution. Like
Execution is everything, right?
in act, I don't know what to say.
Let's get into
Let
it. Let's get into it.
let's just delve deeply.
Uh, Johnny Mnemonic is a 1995 cyberpunk action film. It was directed by Robert Longo. It was his first feature film, and since then, his only feature film. Um, based on a
Really?
short story. Yes. Yes, it is. Based on a short story by William Gibson, who coined the term cyberspace way back in 1981. And also, The Matrix took inspirations from some of his stories and novels as well. Um, this movie initially was going to be an art house film, um, and they were trying to secure a $1.5 million budget, make it in black and white. And studios were like, no, 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 like we're not going to give you that money. And they're like, okay, well, what if we make it a blockbuster and get a main actor in it? Okay, here's 30 million. It makes no sense. Um,
Wait, what?
yeah,
What?
crazy. They
Weird
they
time.
they, they couldn't secure a million and a half, but they could secure 30 million because they said we'll make it a blockbuster. Anyways, Rotten Tomatoes, a lovely 20% on there. It's starring Keanu Reeves, coming off Speed, Point
Mm.
Break, Dolph Lundgren, Dina Meyer, Ice T. and Takeshi Kitano. The
Randomly.
movie, yeah, the movie is the movie's set in the future, but in our past, 2021. And it's rare we get a futuristic movie that is now in the past. Like, how often does that happen?
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future's one, yeah. But I feel like if you're gonna set a movie like in 1995, like let's set it in the future. Like, go to the future, man. Do like,
2600.
you
Yeah.
know what I mean? But it's
But that
kind of
that
funny that
that adds to the level of how much was not thought about in this movie. Like how much was just completely overlooked. Like it was so unimportant to them that clearly there's going to be attention to detail issues.
yeah, yeah. I got to read the tagline to this movie because
Oh, please do.
it's probably one of it's near top tier tagline here. You ready? The hottest data on Earth in the coolest head in town.
Oh man. Oh man, the I'll have to say the graphics are I think the worst I've ever seen of any movie ever.
I mean, they got Windows 95 and they were like, "Hey,
Yeah.
let's create a scene." But anyways, I gotta run down the full plot.
Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
and this is going to be a little bit lengthy because this movie deserves that. And if you as a listener or viewer haven't seen Johnny Mnemonic, uh, turn off this podcast right now, pause it, go watch it,
Don't.
and download it into your brain because it's that good. Uh, in a not too distant future that feels oddly like last Tuesday, technology has run amok. The human race, ever so clever and perpetually self destructive, has invented a disease called nerve attenuation syndrome, or NAS for short. It's basically what happens when your body rebels against your laptop. Everyone has it, except the lucky few who've already traded their brains for hard drives, which leads us to Johnny. Johnny's a courier, but not the kind who delivers pizzas or dubious packages with no return address. No, Johnny's head is a walking USB stick. He's had his memories deleted. Don't worry. Nothing sentimental, just childhood and basic humanity. To make room for sensitive corporate data. This particular gig, he's smuggling 320 gigabytes of information. I know, it doesn't sound impressive now, but in the 90s, that was like carrying the Library of Alexandria in your skull. The problem, the data's too much for his implant. His brain's about to explode like a malfunctioning toaster oven unless he gets it downloaded. Oh, and did I mention the Yakuza are after him? They want the
Oh,
data. They want the data and they have laser whips. Laser whips. It's like they were brainstorming the deadliest weapon and said, how about we combine Indiana Jones and Star Wars? So Johnny teams up with Jane, a bodyguard with a futuristic immune deficiency that makes her one sneeze away from disaster, and they head off to find some underground hackers. The leader, J Bone, is a guy who looks like he moonlights as a heavy metalist bassist. Together, they unravel a conspiracy involving a pharmaceutical giant, a secret cure for NAS, and the general feeling that technology really hasn't been worth it since the invention of the toaster. It's a story about survival, greed, and the great cosmic joke that is progress. Also, did I mention the laser whips?
you didn't. Would you
I
like to
did,
mention
yeah.
them?
You missed that.
I was just a little bored. I don't know what to
Bored
say.
from the movie or the plot? Because
I was
that
more
plot is just
more enthralled with the movie. The graphics though are it's like being on mushrooms in the worst way possible. I just don't know what to say. I wouldn't say it's Windows 95. It's Windows 3.1. It's like DOS basically, but if DOS had graphics, it's
it's a
so bad.
it was a choice, a decision that was made. I don't know how it got made, and where they decided that it would be a good idea to insert that scene in a movie. And the idea of a dolphin named Jones being a hacker. Don't know where they got that idea. It seems like they were all on mushrooms when they
Yeah,
came up with this
and
film.
they decided that all of the ideas on mushrooms were gonna make it into the film the next day. They're just like a bridge that's just like disconnected, but we're gonna shoot things at that bridge too. Yeah, that sounds great. Oh, we gotta have really bad dialogue, like next time knock, Baldy. Like what? I want room service. Like some of the lines are just so Jesus. It's Jesus time. Unbelievably fantastic, but you can't take the movie seriously. But
Well, here's the
I
thing.
did start taking it a little more seriously when I saw Ice T, and then even his like lines were like terrible. But Keanu, like, just nobody could act. Like the script was so bad, nobody. I don't know, nothing in it gave it life. It's like so disjointed. The Yakuza just like randomly being thrown in. Like, why not? Like that. The coolest thing actually probably is their method of killing people, which is pretty badass. But outside of that, weird in a bad way across the board. And hilarious though.
Yeah, yeah. I think from what I read, uh, the movie was supposed to be a lot more funny and more of like a satirical take on the cyberpunk action genre.
Mm-hmm.
But the studio like took the edit and tried to make it into this like more serious, Hollywood blockbuster kind of thing. And I'd love to see the actual, director edit. Would I actually want to see that? I don't know.
No,
But
I'll pause you here. So I was thinking long and hard about this, and I'm not saying that all of the characters should be implemented in the same capacity, but I do believe, with what I've said so far, is contrary to probably what you're about to hear. I think they should redo this movie because I think it actually could be pretty slick.
it
Like
could.
more of like a Total Recall bend to it. I actually think it could be well orchestrated. The script I think is terrible. Combine We had TVs in our old apartment at Q4, remember? We had like five
Yeah.
or six TVs connected. Like it's a college thing to do. And to make
A
TVs
set
connected,
design.
it's just
A
so
set
terrible.
design is that?
It's so bad.
It's
And
set in
having a dolphin,
2021, and they're using mid 90s television sets as
yeah.
the set design. I mean, come on.
But I think they should redo this movie. I don't want to redo it, but I think somebody should take another 30 million or 300 million and see what happens because I think this actually could be made well. It's like redoing Dune. Like Dune, the original sucked, but the was it Dennis Villa? How do you say his name?
Villanueva,
Villeneuve.
yeah,
Yeah,
Villeneuve, yeah.
crushed it. But I will
Do,
say this: one of
do you leave in the Dolphin? Do you leave in the Dolphin for the remake?
fuck. It's just so weird. It's like
It's pro-
it's not a good plot point. It's just like it distracts. Do you know what I mean? It's like not useful. It's like what is this dolphin doing there? What? None of it makes anyway. None of it
He's a
makes any sense.
hacker. The Dolphin's a hacker,
I
but I
get it.
I will
It's just
give you
absurd.
they're smart animals, man. Doubling down on that, but I do think, and you can correct me if I'm way off base here, which I don't think I am. But it's probably one of the best death scenes in a movie where the dolphin sound wave is killing Dolph Lundgren.
I would agree.
Like,
Actually, I do agree. I did mention in my notes. I said if you were to die in that way, pretty gangsta. That's pretty gangster. So the way that I mean, everyone, the way they die in this movie is pretty terrific. But I think it's just poorly executed, or not. They're executed in a good way. The graphics didn't really match up to what could be potential. I did have a friend, Joe Garboden, when I was a kid, and I went to church with him. He said he wanted to die because he loved bass and rap a lot, and so he wanted to sit in a room of like very low bass and just die that way. And it sounds like it would be something similar to old Dolph and how he passed away, but pretty gangsta. So you got to keep in the Dolphin, I would say. You got
at
to
some
stick
capacity,
with
right?
it. Yeah, bring Ice T back too. I bet he can do
Why
a better
not?
job the second time with a better script. But I will say this: one thing I liked about the movie and a level of cheese, and it made me laugh hysterically. Rewind and watching scenes. I feel like there needs to be, if you recall in the 90s as well, I don't know why this was a thing, but Fresh Prince of Bel Air, there's oftentimes in the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, Will Smith's body is being like tossed around. Like there's gym scenes, for example, where he's getting beaten up and they throw like a dummy and they film the
Yeah.
dummy like falling and then he like jumps too. That's in this movie as well. I I don't know why I love it. Whether it's not trying to be realistic, it doesn't even come close to realism, but it's just like this flailing dummy's body just falling through the sky, and I'm like, I don't know. It adds to the flavor of this movie in a bad way, clearly, but it's just hilarious. It's like you can't take this movie seriously at all.
I think people are, from what I've read and seen, people are kind of coming around as this is like a camp classic. Like this is, you know, one of those like midnight movies you would see at a rerun theater or something like that, and like people
Sure.
get into it, you know.
Do they? I think they get into it while like watching The Room. It's like it's so bad and so weird. And maybe the people do get on some mushrooms and start watching it. It probably would be a better watch. How
Oh
does
yeah,
Jesus Christ Superstar guy like how? Like what happened?
he's a
It's
hitman, and
Jesus
he's a
time. What? Like these are literal lines from the movie. And I know he's a hitman. I know what he does and I know how he's portrayed, but it's just like, what?
does he
How did
need to be in the movie? Does
what?
he?
I don't know. Does anyone need to be in the movie? I mean, the Yakuza anyway, I'm just so confused after watching it. Like confused. I don't not confused in a good way. Like I want to go rewatch it again. Just nothing really matches up in my
And
brain.
it's one of those movies that just like ended so abruptly. Like it was just it's over.
I
Oh,
could it has the worst
okay,
and it has the worst ending of any movie I've ever seen. Like ever.
it's bad.
It's
It's really bad.
it's terrible. And there's something to be said about like wrapping things up in a nice bow, but I was just like, this did I press a button? Like is this gone like 5 minutes in advance? I was like, there's no way this is the ending. Like what? How? And it's just like curtains. Like in the middle
That's
of
it.
like a scene, there's just curtains. Like, wait, did you run out of budget? Did you? There's no money left over. What's going on? Anyway, I couldn't help but think, and I don't know when Waterworld came out. Was that before this? It was 95. When
I
did
think this is
Waterworld
after
come out?
Waterworld. Yeah,
Okay, so then this would make a lot of sense. And so the set of Waterworld,
same year.
I
Same year.
okay, so I feel like everything that was on this set was basically just taken from Waterworld and was like the leftover junk, and they just like displaced it basically. And I just felt like I felt like that. Like nothing was really thought out well. Nothing, or like Demolition Man. Some of the like with Wesley Snipes
Yeah.
tires that he was wearing, like the leftover Demolition Man, the leftover Waterworld sets were just basically used to redo this movie, and nothing was thought about. They probably did mushrooms, created and wrote this script in a week, and we're like, yeah, this is great, and just did continue to do some acid, and came out with terrible sound effects. By the way, it was like straight out of like Batman movies from like the '60s,
Yeah.
just like pow, bang, ah, like I don't know. The whole Jesus time made me laugh. The whole bodies that were not bodies made me laugh. The whole graphics made me laugh, and not in an endearing way. Like this is really really quite bad. Like it deserves much less than a 20% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Significantly less. There's something to be said about thinking outside the box and being creative. I don't. I would say the one creative thing is the weapon of choice, and maybe
The
there are other
laser
things
whip.
you can list as creative, but like creative in like a bad way. Like it's just like it's like your first iteration of a thought. They just went through the first iteration of a thought. And what is it like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck? They used to say like, "Don't judge me on my worst thoughts." Well, we are judging you on your worst thoughts, Keanu, and whoever made this decided to make this movie for $30 million. It should have been a million and a half black and white art house film, and I would love to see that.
Oh yeah.
Let's go there. But nonetheless,
I do have to bring up that this was like one of the first movies that a studio, which was Sony, really tried to push the marketing on the internet, and they realized the potential for reaching their target demographic through the internet. And they promoted the film with an online scavenger hunt, offering $20,000 in prizes. Um, I don't know how well that went over.
what?
Yeah, an online scavenger hunt.
What was
Okay,
the box office for this?
16 million, 19 million, something like that. 19
Hmm.
mil. So it lost some money.
Yeah, that's no good. But nonetheless, it was an enjoyable week. What do we have next week?
What do we have next week? We're going Marvel, aren't we?
We are going Marvel.
Wow, we're dipping our toes into the MCU.
You said you were never going to do it, but here we are. Our last video just seemed to crush some views, so we figured, why don't we test out the waters to see what you people like? We'll see. See if you like it. Maybe we just got lucky. Got on somebody's page and somebody promoted us. Who knows? But what movie are you choosing for Marvel superhero?
Yeah, I'm going
Who's your guy?
kind of an I'm doing like an unconventional pick here, but I'm going Thor, the first Thor movie. Um, we're gonna get the God of Thunder coming
Big
through,
fan. I enjoy it. I don't think that's. I mean, you can really just choose. I guess Iron Man would be like the easy pick, right?
or
I'm going
Spider
dead.
Man.
I'm
Yeah.
going Deadpool. Deadpool. If you were to say Deadpool, I wouldn't actually do this podcast. I would refuse. I have Deadpool.
Oh, you have to have him, right?
I have to have him, and I'll talk. I'll say why next week.
Oh, I'm excited to
There's a lot of
find
backs,
out the
a
reason.
lot of a lot of backstory, but nonetheless, why don't we get to ratings and
Okay.
be on the lookout for our website with all these ratings that are going to be hopefully completed by the end of today if we have enough time. But anyway, I'll go first in the Matrix. I think at low 80s for Rotten Tomatoes is crazy to me, and the way I still feel about this movie, there's not a lot of movies I constantly go back to. I don't have a poster up necessarily, so maybe I do actually. But I used to have a bunch of their posters. Um, I love it. The conception of an idea of philosophy being applied to action and bending what is possible in a universe we've never seen before. And still to this day, I think that you can see the of influence in action film still throughout
Oh yeah.
whatever you're watching. And I would say even people that are not necessarily movie watchers, and like Neil deGrasse Tyson, for example, said this like film is absolutely perfect. You get all of the bright minds involved and basically are in agreement. Um, and so maybe a little slightly unconventional for you, but for me, I can't give this anything but a golden glass rating and 5 stars. It's a perfect film to me. I wouldn't change anything, maybe except updating CGI, but that's what they used back in the day. It's just fucking phenomenal. It still is, still holds. I love the concepts. I love the ideas. It makes you think on difficult things while you're watching it and afterwards. But it's 5 stars for me, which is, I'm sure we'll have some others possibly, but I kept thinking of 4.5. I was like, nah, this is a 5 star. It's my first golden glasses.
I love that. And I was watching this. I actually watched it on airplane. And throughout the movie, I was like, can I find something wrong with this movie? Like, is there
Yeah,
anything that I can like really nitpick? Um, and it just blew me away, even on a small little screen, 30,000 miles above sea level. I loved it,
it's so
and
engrossing.
it's
Like
it,
it
it,
gets
e-
you
it
from the very
even
beginning.
yeah, it's a rare movie that combines a great plot, a great idea, great action with memorable characters
Yeah,
that doesn't just make you think when you walk out of the theater, but we're like, 25 years after this movie came out, we're having a podcast talking about the merits of how amazing this movie is.
yeah.
And it's got to be five glasses for me too. It's a golden
Look at
glasses. It's
that!
the first one. Yeah.
Wow,
First official one.
that's shocking. That's awesome. Yeah, I couldn't give anything but it's just such a monumental flick, which to its partner in crime on this podcast. What do you think about your Johnny
I'll
Mnemonic?
go first.
Okay.
I'll go first. Decisions were made, choices were handled. Um, a movie was attempted and you have a finished product that it's forgettable. It's memorable in certain areas for sure, um, but forgettable on the whole. Uh, and it's one of those movies that it's like it could be so much better,
It could
but
be,
it's a
I think, but it's not.
yeah, it's not. um, I can't give it anything higher than what it deserves. It's going 1.5 glasses.
Look at
One
that,
and a
one
half.
and a half. I think this may well be one of the worst movies ever created in all types of ways. Everything about it is just, and in a way that like doesn't even have redeeming value, like The Room. It's just so bad. I never want to watch it again. And in short, I can't give it anything but a monocle. It's a half glass. It's so bad.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's one of the worst movies I've ever seen, and not in a good way. I mean, if I could give, can we give zero glasses? Because
No, you have to rate it at
it's
some kind of
rated
scale. Yeah.
it's rated bad. B for bad. Big capital letter B. It's a terrible movie.
No redeeming qualities in it.
I like the you the whip.
The laser whip, yeah.
Fuck, man. I mean, even when they're like shooting the bridge, it just seemed like everything just seemed odd. Like this is not, nobody thought through this. How the Yakuza showed up at the end of everything. The ending. It's the worst ending I've ever seen, maybe of any film. Honestly, I don't know a worse ending. Just ended.
Just I literally looked
There was nothing.
I literally looked up and was like, "What?" Because I
Yeah.
stared down at my phone for a second because I was bored in the third act.
Yeah. Oh, really?
And Ice T said I literally rewound it because I was like, I thought I missed something.
Me
But yeah,
too.
it's
Yeah. I was like, that. Wait, did I press a button? Like I must have like sat on the remote or something. Anyway, interesting setup, and we're almost to finish our second full season. So we have 5 more episodes, and then we get to go through our Golden Glasses Award. But yeah, interesting
let's
time.
change up the since we've changed up our ratings and got a little bit more with our feeling of the movie rather than the cinematic kind of landscape of it. Let's have some fun awards. Let's like brainstorm some, you know, best scene stealer award. What do you think?
Sure. Yep. We'll see. We'll talk about that. Figure out what we're gonna do. But nonetheless, until next week, and hopefully our having the same conversation of our website not being up and running, but it'll get there.
We're gonna load it up, load it into the matrix.
We're doing it
All
live.
right, doing it live. Bye bye.